I have 5 slow cooker meals. It's gonna make your week a lot easier. If you're on Weight Watchers, I'll include all of the points to each of the meals. We tried each of these meals and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. This first one is tomato beef macaroni stew. In my crock pot, I have a pound of lean ground beef. You can also use turkey if you want to, chopped onion, and some minced garlic. I chopped up a zucchini and a red bell pepper. Now I'm adding in a jar of spaghetti sauce along with a can of beef broth. Next is a can of chopped tomatoes. I'm gonna add some pepper to taste. It calls for 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1.5 teaspoons. I'm using steak seasoning. You can also use Lawry's. I'm gonna stir everything together. I'm gonna pop this in my crock pot, set it on low for 6 hours, or you can cook this on high for 3 hours. I have some pasta. 1.5 cups of dried pasta equals 3 cups cooked. So I cooked mine for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna let it finish cooking in the stew. And I'm also adding 2 cups of fresh spinach. Let that get down in those juices and get wilted. And then dinner will be ready. This smells so good. This was between a spaghetti and a goulash. It was absolutely delicious. One of our favorites. I think it was our favorite out of all 5 of these meals. So if you need to pick one, choose this one and try it. It was really super good. It's gonna go into my rotation for meals. And I heated it up the next day for lunch and it heated up really well too. If you are following Weight Watchers, for 1.5 cups, it is 251 calories or 5 points. I love pasta, so getting a meal with pasta and it's still within a good point range through WW is a win-win for me. This next meal is called Kickin' Chicken. To my crock pot, I have added boneless skinless chicken breast. I've chopped up some onion and a zucchini, added that to my crock pot. Adding a little bit of minced garlic, 2 cups of chicken broth, 1/4 cup of Frank's Red Hot. I'm adding 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. This says fresh lemon. I'm just using bottled. 1/4 of a teaspoon each of crushed red pepper and basil. An 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I'm gonna give this a stir and I am going to put this on low and slow for the day. I am going to shred up the chicken. I'm gonna use my little meat shredder here and do it right in the crock pot, or you can take it out and shred it with 2 forks. Now I'm taking 3 ounces of a 1/3 less fat cream cheese. I'm gonna place it into the broth and I'm gonna let this melt down in. I'm also taking 2 ounces of shredded Parmesan. I'm putting that in here. I'm gonna let this cook together and have that cream cheese melt. The instructions say that you can just put some linguine pasta in the crock pot and let it cook for 45 minutes, but I softened mine up and now I'm gonna add it to the pot. It's 10 ounces of linguine pasta. I'm gonna let them finish softening up in my crock pot and then dinner should be ready. This one was spicy, but not hot. I don't like hot, but spicy, I like. It did make my nose run, so that's good. And Jason took it for lunch the next day and he said it heated up really good. For 1 1/3 cup, it is 359 calories. This one's a little higher at 8 points. But you could easily have a salad on the side with fat-free dressing and that's 0 points. My third slow cooker meal is balsamic pork roast. In my crock pot, I have a pork loin, but you can use a pork shoulder roast. I'm gonna add some salt to taste and 1/2 teaspoon each of crushed red pepper and garlic powder. I'm gonna set this aside. In a bowl, I'm adding a 1/3 cup of chicken broth, a 1/3 cup of balsamic, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Give that a stir. I'm gonna bring my crock pot insert back over with that pork loin in it, and I'm gonna pour this sauce all over this pork loin. The final step, I am adding 1 tablespoon of honey. I'm gonna cook mine on low and slow for the day. You can also cook it on high just for a few hours. I shredded up the pork and added it back into the juices. This smells so good, but it is ready for me to serve. I served mine over rice. If you're following Weight Watchers, for 1/2 cup of rice, it is 3 points. 3 ounces of pork loin is 214 calories or 5 points. We like Greek style food, so I included this one. It's called Greek chicken. You might be able to hear my washer going in the background. So we're starting off by mixing up some seasonings. I am adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil to a bowl, along with 3 garlic cloves. I just have the minced garlic. 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and the juice of 2 lemons. I don't have fresh lemons. I looked it up on Google and it says the juice of 2 lemons is about 6 tablespoons of lemon juice, so that's what I'm gonna add to this bowl. I'm gonna give this a mix once I get the lemon juice in here. I have 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts in my crock pot. I'm gonna pour the mixture over the chicken. I'm gonna cook this on low and slow for the day, 6 to 8 hours. Or you can cook it on high for 3 hours. The chicken is cooked through. My goodness, this smells fantastic. I kind of was worried about it because there's hardly anything, you know, to this chicken. It's a little too easy in my brain. Oh, but it smells really super good. So I just chopped it up real quick, or shredded it with my little tool, and I'm gonna let it set. Ooh, steamed you up. I'm gonna let it set just for a few minutes before I dish it up. Now this one is a multifunctional recipe. You can make this up in just a few hours and add it to a salad. You can add it into pitas. I like the Joseph's pitas. Those are only 1 point per pita, and you can find those at Walmart. But on this night, I served it with cilantro rice. I just take some rice, I add chopped up cilantro, and that cilantro just bumps up the rice, and it paired perfectly with this Greek chicken. And if you're following Weight Watchers, it is so low in points. It was only 1 point for this chicken. Hamburger soup. I have a recipe where I make hamburger soup and I love it, but this one was a little bit different and it was really super good. In my crock pot, I've added 1 pound of lean ground beef and a chopped onion. I seasoned it with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. Now I've added 3 medium diced potatoes. I'm gonna throw a bag of mixed vegetables in there and 1.5 cups of frozen corn, along with some tomato sauce and a can of diced tomatoes, and 4 cups of beef broth. 4 cups is 1 of these boxes of beef broth. For seasonings, I'm gonna use some salt and pepper and 1.5 teaspoons of Montreal steak seasoning. I'm gonna mix this up, and I'm gonna let mine cook low and slow for the day for 6 to 8 hours. I think adding that steak seasoning bumped up that flavor throughout the whole soup, but it wasn't overpowering. It was just right. The extra corn that I added in gave it some more flavor. I don't know, I really enjoyed this soup. And again, it was a good lunch for the following day. If you're following Weight Watchers, for 1 cup, it's 178 calories, or just 3 points, and you get a lot of vegetables in this. All of the recipes are linked in the description. If you're looking for more Weight Watcher dinners, look no further. Here are 2 more for you to enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.